This video is optimized for the inner display of the Galaxy Z Fold 2. Make sure to turn it in horizontal orientation to get the best viewing experience. Where do I begin with this video? Yes, you can see in the title is my first impressions on the Z Fold 2. And by the time you're watching this, I would have had the Z Fold 2 for, I would say what, just about a week now since I did my unboxing, which I will have in the cards above and in the description below. Honestly, I've never used a piece of tech in any form that can legit make me speechless and in awe when using it, to the point where it's left others around me rethinking, how is this even possible that such a thing exists now? Like, honestly, I feel like someone actually time traveled into the future and brought this phone into the now. And in this first impression video of the Z Fold 2, I'm going to tell you why I love the Z Fold 2. And yes, although no one, and honestly, I mean no one in their right mind should buy it at this asking price, I'm excited for this new era of mobile for everyone right now. Fundamentals. This is what the Z Fold 2 has changed in how I look at the usage of a smartphone on a daily basis, especially for someone like myself who I consider to be a power user. Yes, this is not a full review because I have so much testing to do on the Z Fold 2. It's such a new experience as a personal device. I'm going to need some time to digest it all. And you know what? Even after giving the full review, I see myself doing a lot of long-term follow-up as I discover more long-term situations with it. Firstly, the design and the construction of the device from the outside in. I was just marveling over how amazing the Note 20 Ultra was, but man, this Fold 2 is an engineering masterpiece. Yes, I've stated this before, the new satin matte finish is the new standard of what premium finishes on a device is, regardless of the color. But what also takes it is that brushed finish on the frame. It really does make the phone, I know it sounds so cliche saying this, but it does make the phone feel premium, and it gives a level of confidence to hold and use the phone that honestly I wasn't expecting to have. The hinge, wow. Talk about flexing how well put together it feels. That itself makes folding and unfolding the device so satisfying. And honestly, that soft dampened sound with the magnets near, you know, the magnets with that near zero gap when closed makes this product really feel like a beyond finished product. Then now the outer cover display, which from the first fold was the biggest feedback for improvement, and now with a 6.2-inch display with a 25:9 aspect ratio and a display resolution of 2260 by 1816, although narrow, it's much more useful and usable than I thought it would be. From the fast, accurate side-mounted power fingerprint scanner, and also having proper dual speakers at the top and the bottom, not using an earpiece, and a not so large rear housing, this is the best hardware I've held and used ever, period. I don't take that back saying that. This is next level. Now for unfolding the magic main piece experience, which is that inner display. And if you watch my unboxing of the Fold 2, yeah, I can tell you, like, I can't tell you how satisfying it is that when you're opening it, that you get this 7.6-inch massive dynamic AMOLED display. 1, 2, that has 120 Hz variable refresh rate display and a high resolution at 2208 by 1768, all happening at the same time with no compromise. Before using this display and watching other videos on a Fold 2, my biggest concern was not the crease in the center, which, yes, you know, you do feel it, and yes, on lighter backgrounds from different angles, if you look for it, you will see it. So I'm not going to pretend that the crease is not there, right? But it was when touching it and using it and pressing it, my main concern was, is this gonna feel like how a display should feel and give me the confidence and the level of confidence to basically want to use it, open it, and basically touch it and use that massive all screen with that small hole punch display on there? And honestly, the short answer is yes. The use of this ultra thin glass or UTG glass substrate or whatever it is impressive, and it feels almost every bit as much of how a display should feel, but with a very, very slight soft touch. But really, really and truly, I'm just reaching here. When I first used it and touched it, the display felt solid and I had confidence, and I still have confidence using it. The inner display resolution at 2208 by 1768, which works out to be 3.93 megapixels, is a bit strange based on a more squared aspect ratio, which I believe is 5:4, and it's actually enough to be classed as quad high definition. Let me break it down and explain to you this way. Because if you look at 2560 by 1440p, which works out to be 3.68 megapixels at the 16:9 aspect ratio, and then you look at something like 3200 by 1440p, which is the screen resolution for the S20 Plus at the 20:9 aspect ratio, that works out to be about 4.6 megapixels. And then let's take, for example, the iPhone 11 Pro Max at the screen resolution of 2688 by 1242 with the aspect ratio at 19.5 by 9, that works out to be about 3.33 megapixels. So the Fold 2 sits nicely between, with more than enough pixels on the screen to be classed as quad high definition plus. And in fact, it's the iPhone 11 Pro Max that falls short. So yes, if you want a current Samsung phone that can finally do quad high definition plus and 120 Hertz on an AMOLED panel that is bright all at the same time with no compromise, then the Fold 2 is the only way to do it right now. Let me touch on the software experience of the Fold 2, and it goes back to what I said on the previous one, where it's all about changing the fundamentals on how now I want to use a phone and how I'm currently using a phone right now. I knew I loved and needed multitasking, but man, I didn't know I needed and I wanted it like this. It's so easy and intuitive to create app pairs, resize and rearrange apps on the screen. That is actually what makes me spend less time in between apps, because I can pretty much power through all my main apps at the same time on the screen without having to switch between them and spending even more time. So it's added a level of efficiency when using especially my main apps that it's really changed. Now, shout out to my guy Gavin's Gadgets on his first impressions video on the Fold 2, which I'll link below so you can go watch that, because in his video, he brought to my attention an app called Good Lock, which you'll find in the Galaxy App Store, which honestly deserves its own video for how useful it is, because certain apps like YouTube Studio and especially Instagram are not optimized for the aspect ratio and the size of the inner display, and also don't natively support multitasking and the cover screen app continuation when you close the inner display. And this Good Look app fixes all of those issues and really tightens up the experience even more. Honestly, the flexibility to continue from the cover display to the inner display back and forth seamlessly is just next level good. And yes, I was worried it was going to be too wide when open to type, but again, shout out to my man Technically T on his first impressions video, which I will have linked in the description below. His recommendation on switching to Gboard was an instant win, because the split view feel and look of the Samsung keyboard just wasn't cutting it. Now, once on Gboard, you can change the size of the keyboard to your liking, and the haptic feedback is so good. And what helps is how it learns your typing habits, especially for the cover display, and the swipe to text and swipe to type makes it using the cover display way more usable than I actually expected it to be. Now, of course, more will be covered in the full review, but the software experience wise with One UI, Samsung are really onto something here, and backed by obviously the performance and the specs. What we've got in here, the Snapdragon 865 Plus, 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 storage. It seems to just not skip a beat at all, for real. Now, although I've not gone deep into the camera performance and experience of it so far, definitely expect a lover of tech style camera test very soon. But some of my favorite parts that I'm going to share with it when using it: the camera UI that works in flex mode, which allows you to see pictures that you've taken pretty much instantly when it's actually in that flex mode, which is so dope. And then also just being able to actually activate the cover display as a mirror viewfinder for the person that you're taking pictures of, so they can see themselves, so they can trust the framing as well. And honestly, one of the best parts is enabling the selfie screen on the cover display, so you can use the main cameras as a selfie and using the cover display as a viewfinder. This is a Swiss Army knife of a flexible camera experience, which, trust me, I can't wait to test out and delve into it more properly. Because if you look at the camera hardware, at the rear you have a triple 12 megapixel camera system with a ×2 zoom and a 120 degree ultra wide angle camera and obviously the main camera. And the hardware wise, it looks like it's a hybrid mix between the S20's camera system and the S10's camera system, with both the inner display and the cover display with their punch hole Infinity O camera at 10 megapixels on the selfie. I'm also going to save one of the best experiences to last on the Fold 2 that I've been using this week. And honestly, I will share my concerns with it as well, because it's not all rosy with this, but the battery life. I don't know what Samsung are doing here, and I really hope this is not some honeymoon phase on how the battery's behaving and how the battery's performing. But honestly, this is next level good. It's the same battery cell as the Note 20 Ultra at 4500 milliamps, but I don't know whether it's because they're using the 865 Plus or some next level optimization when it comes to the battery, but this is legit good. I'm telling you, pretty much every day, my day starts at 6:45 a.m. and it's off the charger. And from then, I'm leaving 120 Hertz on. Adaptive brightness is on, it's doing its own thing. Again, you can't change the screen resolution, so it's maxed out. And I'm beasting this. I'm talking about I'm using it in the display more than I'm using a cover display. And I can get to 10, 11 p.m. at the end of the day and still have like 30% left. Like, how? Seriously. I don't want to speak too soon on the battery experience, man, because I'm still testing this and I use this heavy because this gives you confidence to want to use it. It almost invites you to push it to its limits and use it properly. So yeah, based on that, it's impressive so far. Now, yes, let me slow down. More good has been said about my experience with the Fold 2, and I'm just being real. I'm just expressing legit how it's made me feel using it, especially back to back with phones like the Note 20 Ultra and even alongside phones like the Pixel 4a. This is bleeding edge stuff. And that's also some of the concerns and the issue, because at times when you're at the bleeding edge and so soon, you're gonna have some concerns and some issues when you're gonna run into it. And the first one I've got to mention is the price. Like, wow, £1,799. Like, bruh, this is expensive, period. Like, period. There is no way to sugarcoat it. And in its current form, this is honestly not for everyone to purchase or use. Next is the accessories and the availability. Like, there's nothing really available, even direct from Samsung at the minute, to protect it in terms of a case. So although this phone gives you confidence, and it gives me confidence to be able to use it, take it outdoors because it feels solid and I can hold it and grip it, like, at the back of my mind, man, you've got to be brave and have some balls enough to take that chance to really take it out in the wild. And as much as I'm brave, I'm still scared. Like, there's no accessories and no proper protection on here. And then even thinking about that, durability. And the problem with these early generations of such a product, you know, when it comes to protection over time, there's no proper ingress protection IP against the elements for dust and water resistance. And plus, regardless of how solid this feels from the flexible, stable hinge that's been put in there, the new one, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of things happening in here. So at the back of your mind, you're thinking durability over time, that might end up being a concern. And the last major one that I'm gonna leave here is app support and the bugs that come with it. Like, fine, good luck is coming in clutch with this, but from what I've been told from other Fold 2 users, that app is actually region locked, and it means that not everyone has access to it, meaning some of your favorite apps flat out just don't work natively with the screen size and the aspect ratio, and flat out again, do not work with the multitasking that you can actually do on here with the inner display as you expect them to. And honestly, when you're spending that kind of money, that can feel very frustrating to have a lackluster app experience. So honestly, it's a long ride when it comes to teething problems, because software has to be keen to make it worthwhile with such a multifunctional form factor device like this. Let me give you some quick fire examples. This is the latest version of the YouTube app on there, updated, using it currently, and it says the community tab is not supported, which is strange because I still receive notifications from the community tab when I post stuff on there and I can reply to it. But when I go to the community tab, it tells me that it's not supported and it needs the latest YouTube app and you can only do it on the desktop. And on top of that, sometimes there's this crazy bug that happens where the video quality on YouTube tops out at 720p. And even if you force close the app, right, unless you restart the whole phone, it's gonna stay capped at 720p. So yeah, don't get it twisted. I love this Fold 2, but these are already some of the concerns I've faced in just a week of having it and using it heavy. Like, I've pushed this phone to its limit. There is so much to cover in the full review coming in the next few weeks, and man, like, this Fold 2 for me personally has changed, and it's a fundamental shift in how I use a phone. And if this is what we're getting on a second generation attempt, especially from the first one, then hopefully it's only uphill from here. And then also making it much more durable, and the most important thing, making the price much more accessible. This is going to be this experience on this phone, it's going to be great for the masses. Man, if you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do. Ben from Lover of Tech, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future content that is posted on the channel. I've got a lot of videos coming up on the Fold 2. Hope you guys are safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.